Hey there guys, it's Controversial here. So today I just wanted to talk about a video that I watched like I think a day or two ago by a YouTuber called Think Before You Sleep, which is an extremely good YouTuber. Like I think I've been watching his content on and off for about the past make it say a few months right now, and he makes very like food for thought type content and calls out hypocrisies between men and women, and he calls people out on their BS. Like it's just a very good all-round channel. He makes really good and detailed and critique videos. Now this video was about a big and popular YouTuber called Lilly Singh. Now Lilly Singh is pretty much one of like the biggest founders of like one of the biggest founding content creators on YouTube. And she started a while back and has had so much success. She has had so much success over the years on YouTube. Now she's an person. She's an internet personality or a social media personality, whatever you wanna call it. But I just typed in her name and it says that she's a Canadian comedian. Like I'm not gonna lie, people, but just because like someone who has a social media following grabs a mic and stands on a stage and cracks a few jokes doesn't make them a comedian. Someone has to be funny in order to call someone a comedian, because Lily Singh has only been doing, I think, stand-up comedy, whatever you want to call what she's doing. She's only been doing it, I think, since like 2020. I think since 2020 or 2021. And honestly speaking, she really is not funny. Honestly speaking, like especially her like especially her jokes on these stand-up shows. And I don't know why she wants to have a late night show. Like late night shows are supposed to be reserved for veterans of the celebrity status, comedians, ex-athletes, ex like sorry, not comedians, ex-athletes, actors, actresses, musicians, artists. Like that's literally what it's supposed to be. Like someone is supposed to have at least a good 20-year long career to the point to where they can do late night shows. Like for example, Trevor Noah has been doing, I think it's the Today Show, or I think it's the Today Show. I think it's the Daily Show. He's been doing the Daily Show for I think about the past two or 3 years now. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But let's just say the past 2 years. He's been doing it, I think, since 2020, or I'm not sure. And regardless of what people say about him, he's a proper stand-up comedian and has a very huge support from people about his stand up and bringing it to the table, and he's legitimately funny. Like Trevor Noah is probably one of the funniest comedians I've ever seen growing up, from a kid, in South Africa and everything. And he's always been a South African, gem that has been traveling the world and bringing comedy to people and whatnot. But on this case, Lily Singh is just someone who is privileged, who's trying to further bring her privilege to somewhere that is only reserved for people with talent. Because most of her jokes just like were just low brow and such low hitters. Like even the audience there was struggling to find her jokes funny. Like her jokes are so unfunny. Like I don't understand what it is about this thing and woman of wanting to relate to, especially if you're a millionaire woman, successful woman and whatnot, trying to relate to other people by playing the victim, or trying to relate to other women by playing the victim. It doesn't help. It's like a rich woman will say, oh, I drive Lamborghinis, Ferraris and stuff, but you want to know what? I have periods too. I mean, like, you see, like that's the type of humor that Lady Singh brings to the table. And this is the perfect example of when YouTubers, influencers, and people of the internet try and take their fame to a place where it has no place. Because if Lady Singh wants to establish herself in Hollywood, she's gonna have to do a lot more work and actually train herself to become that. Because like you cannot take your, like for example, you cannot take your social media following with you everywhere you go. Because in Hollywood, no one cares about that. In Hollywood, no one cares about who you are. People only care about what you can do. And in this case, Lilly Singh really can't do that much. She's had the privilege of having a YouTube channel, or a successful YouTube channel, and then being like a social media influencer, whatever you want to call it, for a pretty long time. And she started in 2010. She started YouTube in 2010, at the peak of when YouTube was creating all of these at the peak of when YouTube was creating so many of these big YouTubers that we have today. And it's the sad thing that she's been trying extremely hard to break into Hollywood. And I'm sorry, but it's just not gonna work, because she needs to stop using her sexuality as a selling point, and she needs to stop using her femininity as a selling point as well. Like, no one cares about the fact that you're female. No one cares about the fact that you're bisexual. No one cares about jokes like, no one cares about jokes that are centered around your upbringing, because Lily Singh, like, constantly likes to say that she has a hard upbringing when she was born in the US, saying that, oh, in India they don't appreciate leading women, in India this, in India that. Like, listen, like, if you didn't grow up in India, or you have no recollection of really what life in India is like, you shouldn't constantly reference India as a means to be funny. Like, stop trying to play the victim. And she's the perfect example of how internet fame is not Hollywood fame. Like, Hollywood fame is about actors, producers, musicians, artists, so many people, stuntmen, so many people who've put in the work and put in the blood, sweat, and tears, literally, to be an actor and to be called famous. Lily Singh hasn't done any of that. She just expects her social media presence to back her up when it comes to that. And honestly speaking, it's not gonna work. It is just not gonna work. And the thing about celebrities is, and I mean, the thing about these YouTube influencers is, I don't care how many celebrities you hang around with, I don't care about how many movies you act in, you're never going to be a celebrity. Just know that you're never going to be a celebrity, because no matter what YouTubers do, there's always this disdain, or this stink, or this bad taste in the mouth of people that, no, you started on YouTube, you made millions on YouTube, and now you're trying to make more by being an actor, or you're trying to extend your relevancy to the Hollywood, and that's just not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. And I'm sorry, honestly, like, I like Think Before You Sleep's video was funny, but, like, honestly, Lily Singh is hard to watch. Just like how often she tries to play the victim, and tries to relate to people by being a millionaire and not being happy, is just cringe. Like, listen, you are really rich, like, you are very successful on YouTube, and it's honestly, you need to take that into consideration when you do that. I don't know what it is about feminists and stuff and wanting to play the victims and stuff. It's just really, really cringe. Like, honestly speaking, like, for example, Lily Singh is worth $20 million, and apparently she has a salary of like $8 million. Like, how? Like, for example, and since when is she a comedian? Like, she's only been doing comedy. uh, she's not even that funny. Comedian, motivational speaker, and musician. I have never heard one song of hers. I have never. And you see, that's the thing, nothing of hers outside YouTube ever gains notoriety for the right reason. People just do it to roast her in and out. That's what most people do. Like, she just needs to stick to the YouTube stuff, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know, eh? It's just crazy. It's just crazy to think about how desperate people are to stay relevant in social media. Like, and that's the thing. Like, okay, anyway, guys, I've been stretching this out too long. But at the end of the day, like, this is controversial signing out saying YouTubers will never be celebrities, influencers will never be celebrities. They can be famous, they can hang around with they can hang out with as many celebrities as they want to. Because just the other day, or just a few weeks ago, Logan Paul, like, for example, Logan Paul was like, was fighting in WrestleMania. So, I mean, this is crazy. This is funny. It's funny to see this stuff happen, but YouTubers will never be celebs. Like, Logan Paul has been acting in movies for like the past, I think, like, he's been acting in movies for a good long while. He makes very brief cameos, but like, It's just crazy. Like, as literally all people, as literally all they have is a social media presence, and most of the time, most of these YouTubers have a kid fan base. Like, most of their fan base are not like 45-year-old people who have mortgages, who have jobs, who have real life commitments watching these people's content. It's usually just kids. So I'm sorry, but like you cannot take your YouTube fame everywhere, and that's the issue with her. But I mean, I'm not telling her to quit. I'm not telling her to do anything like that. But honestly, it's kind of cringe. But anyway, guys, this is Controversial signing off. I'll see all of you guys in the next video, eh? Goodbye.